You know what I'm talking about, man. You know what, I dare you to sit up there and say, explain. You know what I'm talking about, man. He's fighting people. You know we've been fighting 400 and still fighting to this day. To this day. To this day. You just sit here, you don't know what I'm talking about?
When are we going to start giving Devin Haney the respect he deserves, my people? Hey, my goodness, man. When it comes to the four kings and it comes to the 140 to 154 pound division, there's one man that just continues to keep on wanting to put on and continue to keep on fighting the best of the best. It's not Gervonta Tank Davis. It's not Shakur Stevenson, my friends. Hey, it's not even Teofimo Lopez. When are we going to start giving Devin Haney the respect he deserves? As you guys know, man, and if you guys haven't heard, a contract has been sent to Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney from Turkey Al-Ashik trying to make this fight happen. And I'm telling you guys right now, Bill Haney and Devin Haney have already agreed to the contract. Guys, this is insane. You know, you got the WBO 147 welterweight world champion in Brian Norman Jr., who's coming off one of I would say, the knockout of the year, my people, over Gene Sasaki. He literally erased his memory for 6 weeks, right? I mean, dude, devastating left hook. Who in the world would be calling out somebody like that after just a ridiculous knockout like that, man? There's only one person. It's Devin the Dream Haney. Guys, Devin the Dream Haney and Bill Haney are already trying to make this fight happen. As you guys know, man, they've been on Twitter trying to get him out here. You got Bill Haney tweeting out, hey, Devin Haney's out here looking for you, man. Has anybody seen Brian Norman Jr.? Because we out here looking for him. Then you got Brian Norman Jr. pointing out, hey, I'll pull up on you guys whenever you guys want, man. I seen interviews and I got a clip to show you guys right here. Check it out.
To say is wasn't no back and forth on Twitter. They like doing all that tweet and stuff. And you see that boy been going slap crazy. I made my one statement, and it is what it is. But we can make this fight happen. Dead done. That's all I care about. So he could try to go back and forth with all the little social media stuff. I'm about business. I like making things happen. So if he ain't trying to make nothing happen, you stay off of Twitter.
You know, you got Brian Norman Jr. basically saying that it's easy for him. It's easy to make a fight with him, my friends. I know he wasn't able to get that fight with Boots Ennis Jr. You know, he wasn't able to get the pay that he wanted to get. But Bill Haney has already said publicly that whatever money it takes, that he wants to make sure that Brian Norman Jr. gets what he wants. So that way we could give the fans what they want. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I applaud Devin Haney, dude. I've never seen, I mean, he's, dude, the youngest undisputed lightweight champion of the world. You know what I mean? I've never seen nobody who's been willing and wanting to take on such dangerous opponents all the time. He fought Ryan Garcia when Ryan Garcia didn't even make weight, my friends, and he was on Australian. You know what I mean? He's coming off that Jose Ramirez fight where a lot of people want to give him a lot of crap about his performance, but that wasn't him. We already seen publicly that Bill Haney tried, and he told Devin Haney to perform like that. They were trying to get the bag with Ryan Garcia and try to set up that fight that was supposed to happen, my people. They were thinking too much in the future and ended up having everything ruined, right? But here he comes wanting to challenge arguably one of the best welterweights in the world, if not the best. As you guys know, you got Jerome Boots Ennis, who was your other two bout champions, who's moving up to the 154-pound division, and you got Mario Barrios, who's your WBC champion, who's taking on Manny Pacquiao. You know, Boots Ennis was your IBF and WBA champion, and now that he's gone, arguably, Brian Norman Jr. is probably the best champion out there. I think he beats Mario Barrios, right? You guys, this fight between Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. is ridiculous, dude. To me, it's 50-50. It's a 50-50 fight. Devin Haney's so legit, man. I hate how people always want to say that he's a runner, this and that. He doesn't run. He does not run, my friends. When he fought against Lomachenko and he was getting rocked in those last couple rounds, he wasn't running. He was still right there trying to chunk it with Lomachenko, my friends. What about when he got rocked by Ryan Garcia? Go back and watch. There were still moments in that fight, even after getting knocked down, where your boy Devin Haney was still putting on pressure and still coming forward against Ryan Garcia, my people. Dude, what about his performance against Regis Prograis? His resume is absolutely ridiculous. And now he's trying to move up to the 147-pound division where he's never fought before. You know, he fought Jose Ramirez at 144. And don't get me wrong, 144 to 147 is not that big of a difference, my friend. That's basically fighting at the welterweight division. But still, you're a 140 guy. You know, you fought at 135 before. Now you're going up to 147, and your first fight, you don't even want a tune-up fight. You want to fight against Brian Norman Jr., who's just absolutely looking ridiculous. Hey, I'm telling you guys right now, I think it's a 50-50 fight. But if I have to put my money on it, I think I'm going to have to rock with Devin Haney. You know, the thing about Brian Norman Jr. is I know he's skilled. But when you look at that fight with Giovanni, my friends, he was having problems in that fight. I know he knocked him out with that uppercut in round 10. But still, there was moments in that fight where he was rocking Brian Norman Jr. He had Brian Norman Jr. everywhere. You know, there was times where he was hitting him with 4 or 5 punch combinations. And in that fight, I realized, and I'm sure a lot of people know, that Brian Norman Jr. definitely has holes in his defensive game. Now, don't get me wrong, his offense is ridiculous. He's a powerhouse of a fighter. And if he's able to catch Devin Haney at least one time with one of those absolutely ridiculous hooks, like Ryan Garcia was able to catch Devin Haney, he can sleep him. He can sleep Devin Haney. But everybody just looks at that last performance with Devin Haney and Jose Ramirez and forgets about how great Devin the Dream Haney is, my friends. And I'm telling you guys right now, the fact that he's going up to 147 to try to take on Brian Norman Jr., my people, absolutely ridiculous, man. I think this fight's going to happen. And I heard Bill Haney said this fight's going to happen in November. Devin the Dream Haney, Brian Norman Jr. for the WBO welterweight championship fight of the world, my friends. Wow, man. Absolutely ridiculous, my people. And not just that, but we also got UFC 317 coming up this weekend. Let's go. International Fight Week. Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. You know, Charles Oliveira, dude. This guy literally has the most fight bonuses ever in the UFC. He's literally gained $1 million just off of fight bonuses. He has 19 fight bonuses. I believe he has the record for the most submissions in UFC history with 16. I believe he has the most stoppages in UFC history with 20. You know, he's a former UFC lightweight champion of the world, but he's taking on Ilia Topuria, my friends, who's your former featherweight champion of the world. You know, he's a 2024 fighter, UFC Fighter of the Year, who went on probably arguably 2 of the greatest knockouts in UFC history from back to back. He goes in there and knocks out Volkanovski, even though Volkanovski had already got knocked out by Islam Makhachev. To still go in there and do that in Volkanovski's weight division is absolutely ridiculous. Then he goes in there against Max Holloway, against a guy from Hawaii who's never been knocked out in his career, and goes in there and sleeps him, my friends. Absolutely knocks out Max Holloway, and this is what blew him up, dude. I mean, he was already blown up with the Volkanovski, but by knocking out Max Holloway, absolutely ridiculous. Now, going into this fight, a lot of people think Topuria is going to win this easily. You know, he talks about how he believes he's going to knock out Charles Oliveira in the first round. Why? Because usually Topuria has to come forward in his fights. He's the one who's putting the pressure when he fights against the fighters, right? But this time, against a guy like Charles the Bronx, who comes forward and actually likes to chunk it and put pressure, my people, he believes that Charles Oliveira might walk into a left hook or a right hand, and he's going to be going night-night. He also believes that Charles Oliveira doesn't have the wrestling skills to be able to take down him and be able to take down Topuria and hold him down and get a submission. He says absolutely in 100 years, Charles Oliveira would never be able to submit me, my people. Hey, UFC 317, I'm so excited for it, dude. You know, it's 2 championship fights on the line. You got Kai Kara France, which we got his autograph card when we pulled a while back on one of our live streams. I hope he wins tomorrow against Alexander Pantoja, so we could just get this division rolling, man. It might be one of the most boring divisions in the UFC, but we Ridiculous, man. UFC 317 coming up. I can't wait. If Topuria beats Charles Oliveira, my friends, you know, Charles Oliveira, he's the number 2 ranked lightweight in the world. You know, you got Armin Tsukian, who's the number 1 ranked lightweight in the world. This is for the lightweight title bout, as Islam Makhachev decided to move up to the welterweight division to take on JDM for his bout. You guys know Islam used to be the champion. Since he moved up, he vacated. The winner out of Topuria and Charles Oliveira will be your new lightweight world champion, right? Dude, if Topuria wins this fight, and he says if Islam Makhachev beats JDM, that he wants to become the first UFC 3 division champion, my people, and he wants to move up and take on Islam Makhachev, dude. Absolutely ridiculous, man. I can't wait for that. What are my predictions for Topuria and Charles Oliveira? You guys, I think the Topuria should probably win this fight. He should probably get it done. But who do I want to win? I want Charles Oliveira to win this fight. My prediction, Topuria is going to win this fight by stoppage. But what does my heart want to win? And what are my money going to go to? Charles the Bronx Oliveira, my people. I love, you guys know on the MMA Boxing Addicts channel, we love when the underdogs win, my people. And not just that, but breaking news for UFC Noche. You guys know it was supposed to be a pay-per-view card taking place in Guadalajara, but since Canelo Alvarez has become a promoter in boxing and he's got distracted with the Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight, UFC Noche from Guadalajara got moved to San Antonio, Texas. And not just that, it's still a great place. Don't get me wrong, man. There's a lot of Hispanics there, and this is supposed to be dedicated to the Hispanics, right? And not just that, it's not pay-per-view anymore, my friends. It's UFC Fight Night, so it'll be for free. And not just that, but it'll be a little bit earlier than the Canelo Alvarez fight. Dana White was able to move that way we'd be able to watch both fight cards on the same day. But breaking news, the main event, which we thought was going to be Yair Rodriguez and Diego Lopez, because what an absolute perfect thing that would have been, especially it being dedicated to Mexicans. We got 2 fighters, and neither of them are Mexicans who are going to be fighting on it. We got Diego Lopez, right, who's coming off that fight with Alexander Volkanovski, where he dropped him in that fight, but lost it. You know, it was for the featherweight world championship of the world. He only has 1 loss in the UFC against Movsar Evloev, right? It was his first fight in the UFC, and we all know how good Movsar Evloev is, my friends, right? He's going up against Gene Lord Silva, my friends, an absolute powerhouse, 5-0 in the UFC with 5 knockouts, just ridiculous. Coming off that fight with Bryce Mitchell, you know, and Bryce Mitchell, all that controversy that was going down with him, Gene Silva being the dog that he is. You guys, it's a great main event, but at the same time, neither of them are Mexican, my friends. I kind of don't get it, but I do love to see Gene Silva fight. And Diego Lopez is a dog. So at the end of the day, my friends, we're going to be able to watch Terence Bud Crawford possibly pull off one of the most shocking victories over Canelo Alvarez, and an absolutely fantastic fight between Gene Silva, my friends, and your boy Diego Lopez, my people. Hey, this is the MMA Boxing Addicts channel. And yesterday, everybody was doing drugs. Everybody was getting caught up. You had Julio Cesar Chavez, Jose Benavidez, and I said John Jones. And now we're heading in to fight week this Saturday, guys, with Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Deontay Wilder making his return. It's time to get a win back. The Bronze Bomber. Let's go.